Okay, madam. You can share the screen, madam.
Yes, sir. Shall I start, sir?
One minute, madam.
Sir, is it visible? Screen is visible?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine.
Good evening, all. This is Dr. S. Shekhar, founder and managing trustee of Star International Foundation for Research and Education. I welcome you all for the day 4 of 7 days online workshop on research methodology and publication ethics. I would like to introduce a few words about today's resource person, Dr. K. Lada, madam. Dr. K. Lada is an assistant professor at the Department of Commerce in SDNB Vaishnav College for Women since 2005. She received his MPhil and PhD in Commerce from the University of Madras. Her area of expertise is finance, human resources, and marketing. She has presented more than 10 papers and published more than 35 research papers at national and international conferences and journals. She had attended more than 30 workshops, FDB seminar, and conferences related to the research methodology and other disciplines conducted by various colleges and universities. She has also attended 1 month induction program supported by MHRD Government of India, conducted by the Teaching Learning Center, IIT Madras. She has completed many online courses in NPTEL, Ramanujam, and Courses Era platform in different subjects like working capital management, corporate social responsibility, principles of human resource management, accounting standards, etc. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your kind introduction. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizing committee, that is Star International Foundation for Research and Education, for providing me with this opportunity to share my thoughts. I would also like to extend my best wishes to all the participants. Shall I start? Okay. So today my topic is data collection method as well as the analysis. Before going to the topic, we should know the meaning of what is research. So research, the word research is a combination of two words, research. What is the meaning of re? That is again and again. Re means again and again. Searching means finding. So again and again, you are finding for new things. So it is research means searching for more knowledge. The real meaning of research goes beyond searching for knowledge. It also searching for solution to the problem, establishing the relationship among the variables, and also researching to increase in knowledge. So these are all the characteristics of a good research. First one, rational. Actually, there is no place for the rule of thumb or superstitious belief in research. There should be always a cause and effect relationship among the variables. And second one, systematic. There is order or methodology or logical sequence in conducting the research. And next one, scientific. There must be empirical evidence in all the results, and inferences must be supported by the data. All observations, attitude, opinion must be quantified for the valid analysis as well as the interpretation. For a good research, database is indispensable. Next characteristics of good research is objective. Judgment, that is, inference must be made based on the facts only without any personal prejudice or favor or external influences. Next one is universal. The result must be amendable for generalization and applicable for universal adaptation. Next one is value adding. The research should enrich the existing knowledge. Of course, it should be updating our existing knowledge. Additional data obtained must be valuable. Next one is verifiable. Similar to the universality, a good researchers must be amendable for verification. And last one is honest. Honest is the backbone of research. So researcher must be honest and in collection of data, analysis, interpretation, and reporting of the result or inference. So these are all the characteristics of good research. Next, our topic is data collection. So first, we should know the meaning of data. So data constitute the foundation of any scientific analysis and interpretation. There is some difference between the data as well as the information. So you can have data without information, but you cannot have any information without the data. Next, coming to research data. It refers to the recorded factual materials commonly accepted in the scientific community as necessary to validate the research findings, which are collected, observed, or created for the purpose of analysis to produce original research results. So these are all the types of data. Actually, the data has to be divided into two categories. First one, qualitative data, and second one is quantitative data. Qualitative data is divided into two criteria. First one, nominal, and second one is ordinal. Quantitative data is also divided into two criteria. First one, discrete data, and second one is continuous. Let us explain this. So qualitative data. So other name of qualitative data is categorical data. It can be arranged into categories based on physical traits, gender, colors, or anything that does not have a number associated with. So I already told the two types of qualitative data are nominal and ordinal data. So nominal is just a number or a label. Example, gender, colors, name, like that. So gender, hair color, ethnicity, these are all coming under nominal data. And next one is ordinal data. Here we can ranking first, second, third, like that, and satisfaction level also low, medium, high. So first, second, and third, letter grades A, B, C, etc. Economic status, low, medium, etc. So nominal, I repeat again, nominal data is just a label or tag. So all the demographic variables are coming under nominal data. Ordinal data, we can order first, second, and third, like that. And next one is quantitative data. So other name of quantitative data is numerical data. So it is based on numbers. Example, 56% of 18 years old drink alcohol at least 4 times a week. It doesn't tell why, when, and how. It's just telling the numbers. It's just not providing the answer for why, when, and how. So quantitative, other name of quantitative is numerical. The two types of quantitative data are discrete and continuous. Discrete data, it can be counted and usually involves the whole numbers. Example, number of students in a class, number of cars in parking lot, like that. And continuous, data that can be measured and can take any value within the range. Example, temperature, time, distance. So these are all the types of data. So quantitative, qualitative as well as quantitative. Qualitative is two criteria, nominal as well as ordinal. Quantitative also have two criteria, that is one, discrete as well as continuous. These are all the types of data. So under nominal data, no order, distance, or origin. In ordinal, we have the order but no distance or origin. So the key characteristics of nominal data, it cannot be quantified and cannot be assigned to any of the order. The values of nominal data are only allocated to distinct categories. Those categories have no meaningful order. It indicates no order or distance relationship and has no arithmetic origin. For statistical analysis, only mode, chi-square, and coefficient of contingency can be employed. Next, coming to ordinal data, these are all the key characteristics of ordinal data. In this ordinal measurement, objects or persons are placed in order by assigning the ranks in ascending or descending order, first, second, and third, etc. So it is placed into some kind of order. Ordinal numbers only show sequence. We can assign numbers to ordinal data. We cannot do arithmetic with ordinal numbers. We don't know whether the difference between the values are equal. The statistical techniques that could be used are here median, percentile, rank order, coefficient, and non-parametric methods as test of significance. So I already explained the examples of ordinal data. First, second, and third person in a competition. Economic status like low, medium, and high. Letter grades, A grade, B grade, C grade, and etc. Educational level, elementary, high school, college, graduates. And customer level of satisfaction, such as satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, highly dissatisfied, etc. So now coming to, we should know the meaning of what is data collection. So it is a process by which the researcher collects the information needed to answer the research problem. The task of data collections begins after a research problem has been defined. Yes, of course, the first step of research is we have to identify the problem. After review of literature, after that we have to frame the questions. After only data collection process will start. So for in collecting the data, in at time of collecting the data, the researcher must decide which data is to collect first. We have to first the researcher has to think which data is going to collect and how to collect the data. And next one, who will collect the data? It by the researcher himself or appoint somebody like enumerator to collect the data on behalf of the researcher. He has to decide who will going to collect the data from the respondents and also decide in advance when to collect the data, what is the right time to collect the data, and everything should be planned by the researcher before collecting the data from the respondents. So the purpose, these are all the purpose of data collection. First, to obtain the information, to keep on record, to make decisions about the important issues, to pass the informations on to others. So we have the two sources of collecting the data. First source is primary and second one is secondary. You already know what is primary data and what is secondary data. So primary data is the first-hand data. So it is freshly collected by the respondent. So it is collected directly by the researcher from the original sources. In primary data collection, the researcher can collect the required data according to his research needs. He can collect when he wants them and in the form he needs them. Of course, it is a little costly and time consuming, but in several cases, secondary data may not be available, necessitating collection of primary data. So coming to secondary data, when a researcher uses the data which have already been collected by others, such data are called secondary data. So primary data means it is collected by the respondent for the first time. Secondary data, we are using the data which are already collected by someone. Next, we should know the difference between the primary as well as the secondary data. So primary data is the real-time data, yes, of course. And secondary is past data. It is collected by someone. This data you are using now, but it is you are not a original owner. It is collected by someone, some researcher. And primary data, you should sure about the sources. You certainly know the sources, but it is not sure about the sources. Coming to primary, can answer the research questions. Secondary, refining the research problem. Yes, of course, comparing to secondary data, primary data is consuming cost as well as time. It is costly when compared to secondary data. Secondary data is cheap and no time because it is already collected by someone. Primary data can avoid the bias. Bias can't be ruled out in secondary data. Primary data is more flexible. When compared to primary data, secondary data is less flexible. So these are all the main difference between the primary as well as the secondary data. Now coming to the methods of collecting the primary data, we have the 5 methods: observations, survey, interviews, questionnaires, and schedules. So observation method. So it is a method for systematically observing the behavior of individuals in terms of the schedule of categories. It is collected with the help of the observation by the observer or by personally going to the field. It is both physical as well as the mental activity. It has some characteristics. It is purposive, not casual. It captures the natural context. It is both physical as well as the mental activity. So steps for an effective observations determine. First, the researcher has to determine what needs to be observed. And second, he should select the target participants. It might be randomly selected and conduct the observation. It is the researcher has to predetermine the venue, durations, recording material should be standardized, and take photograph, everything, keep it in ready and compile the data. And last one, analyze and interpret the data collected. These are all the steps for an effective observation. And types of observations: structured observation. So it is characterized by the careful definition of the units to be observed. That is, it is predefined or pre-planned. The style of recording the observed information, standardized conditions for observations. If you want any instrument, it should be standardized. And the selection of related data of observation. Everything is pre-planned or predefined. That is called structured observation. It has to be everything is predefined. And unstructured observation, without without characteristics of the structured observation, it is not predefined. Structured is predefined, everything is planned. Here unstructured, it is not pre-planned. And next one is participant observation. The researcher is a member of the group which he is observing. I'm giving one example. For example, the researcher wants to identify the behavior of cricketer in IPL match. In this participant observation, the researcher should be the player of the cricket team. He should be he should participate in the team that is coming under participant observation. Okay, he should be the member of this team. Non-participant observations means the observer or researcher records his observations. He is not actually participating in the phenomenon. He might be the audience of the cricket match, but he is not participating. He is not engaging any player. He is not participating in the cricket team. This method calls for skill in recording the observation without getting the noticed. Next one is uncontrolled observation. So it does not involve control over the extrinsic as well as the intrinsic variables. So the observations take place in natural conditions. It is primarily used for descriptive research. Coming to controlled observations, here observational techniques should be standardized with maximum control over extrinsic as well as the intrinsic variables. By adopting the experimental design and recording the observation systematically, it is primarily used for inferring the causality and testing the causal hypothesis. So everything is pre-arranged and standardized. Next, coming to the advantages of observation method, it produces large quantities of data. Yes, it is possible to study behavior as it occurs. There is no need to ask the respondent about the opinion, attitude, etc. And next one, all the data obtained from the observations or usable conditions only. The observation techniques can be stopped or begun at any time. It's just quite inexpensive, relatively inexpensive comparing to other methods of collecting the primary data. And one more thing, the data describe the observed phenomena as they occur in the natural settings. Coming to demerits, interviewing selected subjects may provide more information economically than waiting for the spontaneous occurrence of the situations. Extensive training is needed in some time. It may give the limited information only. Past events or activities cannot be studied in sometimes. It is not suitable to study the opinions as well as the attitudes of the respondents. In sometimes the researcher has to wait for the event to occur. It is slow process. It may in sometimes it neglects the contacts within which behavior takes place. Next, coming to survey method, this is the second method of primary data collection. Survey, you already know, it is a research techniques in which primary data or information is collected from the sample of people through a questionnaire or interview. It is a method of data collection based on communications with respondents. The aim of studying the relationship among the variables and of collecting the information that probably describe the whole population. Different ways to conduct the survey. First one is telephonic survey. Through telephone, we can collect the data from our respondents. An online survey, yes, we have various social media. Through social media, we can collect the data from our respondents. Nowadays, all the researchers are using this method, online survey method, and face-to-face survey. This is a traditional method. And next one is paper survey. Through questionnaire, we can collect the data from the respondents. I mean, physical survey. These are the methods of survey method. Next one is interview method. You already know interview is a common occurrence in social life, such as job interview, media interview, social work interview, police interview, appraisal interview, etc. So these different kinds of the interviews have some common features. Information from the interviewee respondent. In business, for example, if you're taking in business research interview, the aim of interview is to explicit the information from the interviewee. So in the method of collecting data involves presentation of oral verbal stimuli and reply in terms of oral verbal responses. The questions are asked personally directly to the respondents. Interviewer asks questions to the respondents which are aimed to get the information required for study. It is a prominent method of data collections. It involves not only the conversation, but also learning from the respondents, gestures, facial expressions, etc. It is a face-to-face contact or contact. It may be structured or unstructured. It permits the investigator to seek the clarifications. It is a most popular method. Steps of effective interview. First, we have to, the researcher has to prepare interview schedule. What are the types of questions you should ask and everything, and select the subjects and also the key respondents, conduct the interview. Last, yes, of course, in all the methods, analyze and interpret the data collected from the interview. Next, coming to the types of interview, structured interview. It is made with detailed, standardized schedule. Questions are put to all respondents in same order. Each question is asked in the same way in each interview to promote measurement reliability. In this method, greater precision is achieved. And next one is unstructured interview. In this case, we don't follow the system of predetermined questions. The interviewee is encouraged to talk freely with a minimum of prompting or guiding. Instead of detailed pre-planned interview, only a broad interview guide is used. The style of questioning is usually informal. It is more useful to gather the information on sensitive topics. One of the limitations under unstructured interview is time may be wasted in unproductive conversation. And sometimes it may be wasted. Data uptime may not be comparable and hence not suitable for survey. Next one is focus group interview. It is a semi-structured interview. The investigator attempts to focus the discussion on the actual effects of given experience to which the respondents have been exposed. It involves 6 to 10 people. Group interviews start with broad topic and focus in on specific issues. The focus on the subjective experience of the respondents, such as their attitudes, emotional responses, etc., to particular situations. It generates the discussions as well as the interactions, listens to what people have to say. Everyone gets a chance to hear in this focus interview, everyone having the chance to get a chance to speak. Here, the situation is analyzed prior to the interview, and an interview guide related to the research hypothesis is used. Next one is clinical interview. It is similar to focused interview, but subtle difference. While the focused interview is concerned with the effects of specific objective, in clinical interview, is concerned with broad underlying feelings, motivations, or life experience. They also record the plans, orders, procedures performed, observations, test results, opinions, as well as the discussions and everything. Next one is group interview. In the method of collecting the data, a single interview, using a single interviewer with more than one particular respondent based on the size, a group is classified as 2 people or 3 people, 2 to 6 people, or super group up to 20 peoples. In terms of in terms of composition, a group can be heterogeneous or homogeneous. The number of groups to interview is determined by the scope of issues to be studied. The advantages of interview method, it provides the more informations at greater depth can be uptime. Resistance may be overcome by the skilled interviewer, yes, of course. And sometimes we can get the personal information, and sometimes which is not relevant to our study, we can get the because it's face-to-face interview. That's why we can get. Yes, of course. Coming to demerits of interview method, it is an expensive method. In sometimes interviewer can be biased. Sometimes respondents may also bias. Yes, of course, it's time consuming and expensive method. Next one is questionnaire. So the term questionnaire refers to an instrument for collection of data. It is usually in written form, consistent of open-ended questions or closed-ended questions. You already know open-ended questions means they are unstructured ones, providing the free scope to the respondents to reply with their own choice of words and ideas. Open-ended questions are helpful in initiating the discussions or for in-depth investigations. The major limitations of open-ended questions is classification and it's difficult for classification as well as the analysis of the responses. So close-ended questions, it is generally contain the standardized answer. They are simple to administer and easy to compile as well as the analysis. Apart from that, open-ended and closed-ended, we have dichotomous questions also. It is dichotomous means yes or no questions. Here, under dichotomous, the respondent, there is no choice for the respondent to say undecided, do not know, sometimes or partially like that. He has to say yes or no only. And also we have one more type that is multiple choice questions. These questions contain more than two alternatives. And also questionnaire, one type of questionnaire is declarative questions. It is a type of multiple choice questions in which a series of statements are given and the respondent is asked to select one with represent his views. So steps for effective questionnaire. Prepare the questionnaire. First, we have to the researcher has to frame the questions and select our respondents, select his respondents, and administrate the questions, date, venue, as well as the time. Tabulate the data collected. At last, analyze and interpret the data collected. Yes, I already explained open-ended questions, closed-ended questions, dichotomous questions, multiple choice questions, as well as the declarative questions. These are all the types of questionnaire method. Open-ended, I already explained. It is unstructured ones, providing the free scope to the respondents to reply with their own choice of words and ideas. Close-ended means it is the structured ones. They have the only two or more alternatives responses for the respondent to choose. Uh, they generally contain the standardized answers. Dichotomous means yes or no questions, multiple choice questions you already know. It's contain more than two alternatives. Declarative means it is a series of statements or given, and the respondents is asked to select the one which represent his view. Yes, of course. The questionnaire should be simple, short as well as the simple. The questions must be relevant to the research problem being investigated. It must be short as well as simple and easy to understand, of course. It should convey the purpose without any ambiguity. Unless it respondents or technical persons, technical terms and jargons must be avoided. follow a sequence of questions from easy to difficult one. Of course, it should be properly arranged. All the questions should be properly arranged. For example, asking a woman respondent how many children she has before knowing whether she is married or not is undesirable. So we should avoid illogical to know the salary of respondent before knowing whether he is employed or not. So questions should be logically arranged. That is a very important thing under questionnaire method. Yes, of course, I already explained technical terms should be technical terms as well as the jargons must be avoided. It should provide the adequate space for if it is declarative question. It should provide the question. I mean, the researcher should provide the adequate space for answer the questionnaire. Directions regarding filling the questionnaire should be given. Physical appearance, quality of the paper, color, arrangement, everything should be proper. Yes, I already spoke. Sequence must be clear. It should be logically arranged. Questions should be capable of getting the objective answer. Open-ended or free answer questions must be placed at the end. After the multiple choice dichotomous and all that, open-ended or free answer question must be placed at the end. And should also cross-check. One or more questions may be repeated in different formats to cross-check whether the respondents answer the questions sincerely or carefully. And one more thing, the questions should be specific. I'm telling one example. Instead of asking how well did you like the book, it could be did you recommended the book to others or did you look for other books by that author, like that questions. If any questions requiring calculations, we should avoid that questions. And also, if requiring any memory test on all that, we should avoid that. And questions of sensitive nature, we should avoid that questions also. If questions are not related to the interested area of the respondents, we should avoid that questions. We should avoid the long questions also. If questions contains the technical terms, we should avoid that questions. So these are all the essentials, characteristics, essentials of good questionnaire. So advantages of the questionnaire, it is low cost even when the universe is large and is widespread, yes, of course. It is free from interviewer bias. Respondents have adequate time to think through the answer. Respondents who are not easily approachable can also be reached conveniently. Large samples can be used. So disadvantages is time consuming one. The respondents need to be educated and cooperative. Yes, of course, it should be the literate persons. Sometimes this method is slow, and sometimes the possibility of unclear replies also can occur. These are all the demerits of questionnaire method. And fifth method is schedule. Sorry. So it is very similar to the questionnaire method. The main difference is that schedule is filled by the enumerator who is specifically appointed for the purpose. Under questionnaire method, no enumerator is playing. Under schedule, enumerator is playing a major role. And enumerator goes to the respondents on behalf of the researcher, asks them the questions from the questionnaire in the order listed and records the responses in the space provided. Enumerator must be trained in administrating this schedule, of course, because he only directly go approach the respondents and ask the question. That's why he must be trained in that field. So main difference between the questionnaire as well as the schedule. Questionnaire sent through the mail and no further assistance from the center. Yes, but schedule is filled by the enumerator himself. Questionnaire is cheaper method when comparing to schedule. Non-response is high, but in schedule, non-response is low. In questionnaire, it is not confirmed that expected respondents have filled the answer. In schedule, identity of person is known because it's directly collected by the enumerator. It is very slow method, but schedule information is collected well on time. Sometimes it is incomplete and wrong questionnaire method, but it depends upon the honesty of the enumerator. Here, no personal contacts. Here, direct personal contacts is needed under schedule. Under questionnaire depends on the quality of the questionnaire. Yes, of course. It is relative under schedule, the relatively more correct and complete. Under questionnaire can use only when respondent is educated and well cooperative. Yes, of course. But information is collected from illiterate also because it is it is filled by the enumerator. That's why we can collect the data from the illiterate also, illiterate respondent also. Under questionnaire, the literacy level is very important, but in schedule, it is not the major one. Under questionnaire, one more difference, wider distribution is possible. Under schedule, difficult to contact many. These are all the difference between questionnaire as well as the schedule. Yeah, coming to secondary data collection methods. We already know the meaning of secondary data. So data gathered and recorded by someone else. Of course, we are using this data for our research work. It is collected by someone already. So it is a data that has been collected for another purpose. It involves less cost, time, as well as the effort, of course, because you are not going to collect the data directly from your respondents. So secondary data is data that is being reused, usually in different context. Okay. So sources of secondary data. Internal sources. Internal sources of secondary data are usually for marketing the application, sales records, marketing activity, cost information, distributor reports and feedback, customer feedback, and common extra internal uses. For example, these data are generally available in routine businesses, various departments like finance, production, personnel, sales, R&D department, etc. If you want to collect the data on employees, we can collect the salary from payroll, sales amount from sales journals, raw materials from stock register, labor and manufacturing expenses from the production records, cash receipt from cash books or internal data. These are all the internal sources for collecting the data, secondary data. And also we can retrieve the data seen in the balance sheet as well as the profit and loss account or the major internal data available for projects in finance. So commonly external sources or obtained from the books, journals, reports, government publications, publications of organization, professional bodies, projects reports, media, commercial sources like market share data, stock market sources, are known as the common external sources. We can retrieve the data from these. We can retrieve the data from these external sources. We can get the data for our study. So other sources of secondary data collections is or publication of central, state, local government, technical and trade journals, books, magazines, newspaper, reports, publications of industry, bank stock exchange, reports by research scholars, universities, economists, as well as the public records. We can get the data, secondary data. So before using the secondary data, we have to consider some factors. Reliability of data. Yes, of course, we have to check the reliability of data. Who, when, which methods, at what time, etc. must be investigated. And next one is suitability of data. Yes, we have to cross-check the object, scope, nature of original inquiry should be studied. If the study was with different objective, then the data is not suitable for the current study. And adequacy of data, level of accuracy, area of differences, then data is not adequate for study. The level of accuracy is also adequacy as well as accuracy is very important factors to be considered before collecting the secondary data. So we have to select the proper method for collecting the data, and it depends upon the nature, scope, or as well as the object of inquiry, availability of funds, time factors, accuracy required. And one more thing, the objectives of collecting the secondary data is fact finding. It's of course to collect the descriptive information to support the decision making. Next, coming to advantages of secondary sources of data. It is ease of access, cost and time. Yes, of course, good quality data can be accessed in a short period for a tiny fraction of the resources involved in carrying out data collection by the researcher himself. And also opportunity for longitudinal analysis. Secondary data can offer the opportunity for longitudinal research. But longitudinal research means long time period, no? It requires more time for data analysis as data collection is time consuming. There may not be adequate time for analysis and interpretation. So in that cases, we can use the secondary data. We have the plenty of time for analysis and interpretations. So it is scope for reanalysis may offer new interpretations. So analysis of data which has already been analyzed may yield further insights into the problem. So new theories which were not available to earlier researchers may help arrive at different interpretations, as well as the alternative method of quantitative data analysis not employed by the original research may give the different interpretation to the secondary source of data. These are all the advantages. Disadvantages is lack of accuracy as well as the outdated and lack of familiarity with data. So because it is a data collected by others. It is not easy to get familiarized with a range of variables. So complexity of the data. Some of the secondary data sources are huge with a large number of respondents as well as the variables. Here, the researcher does not have control over the quality of the data. Though many data sources of government agencies and reputed research organizations are quite dependable, and also the data from secondary sources may not meet the requirements of the researcher, yes, of course. After collecting different so far we study the methods of collecting primary as well as the secondary data. Okay, this after collecting all the data from the respondents, analysis, the tabulation part is so much important. So it is a process of summarizing the raw data into the meaningful categories and presenting them for quick understandings. Tabulations is a prerequisite for statistical analysis. Here I'm showing one sample of questionnaire. Wait. Yes, here I'm sharing one more thing. So this is a sample for primary data. So here I am collecting the data about the consumer behavior and online shopping. These are all the questions: name, gender, age group, marital status, all the basic demographic variables I collected. Name is not essential for that. Gender is essential: gender, age, marital status, and annual income. And after demographic data, I'm coming to my topic. What goods do you usually shop online? It might be the mobile phones. It is a dichotomous questions, yes or no questions. Okay. So the respondents have to choose yes or no. I given only two options. For seventh questions, what are the online shopping website you make use? We have several on-site website: Amazon, eBay, Flipkart, Snapdeal, Blinkit, and everything. But I given only four: Amazon, eBay, Flipkart, as well as Snapdeal. After that, I asked the questions relating to the consumer behavior. I divided into five categories. Website safety. Yes, website safety is most important. Website as well as the payment safety is most important in online shopping. These are all my variables under website safety. Under payment safety, I have uh, 7 variables, and product selection, I have 4 variables. Transaction safety, I have 3 variables. Okay, so I divided my questions in 3 parts. First one is A part, demographic, as well as my main things. What are the goods are selecting, or what are the goods are purchased through online, and which platform they are using. Like that's simple basic questions I arranged in section one. I'm in section A. In section B, I'm asking consumer behavior questions, questionnaire relating to consumer behavior. In Yes. And section C is consumer shopping experience. And D, customer satisfactions. So I divided my questions into four parts. First one is demographic as well as the basic things. And second one is consumer behavior. And third one is consumer shopping experience. And fourth part of my questionnaire is customer satisfaction. Under consumer behavior, a 5-point Likert scale, I use 5-point Likert scale. That is always, often, sometimes, rarely, never, like that. In customer satisfaction, also I use the 5-point Likert scale. That is highly satisfied, satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, and highly dissatisfied. So for the demographic, I use descriptive analysis. So I use only the percentage analysis is enough for to analyze the demographic variables. Well, I will share my Excel sheet also here. So here my sample size is 165. Sorry, 164. So after collecting, I feed all the data in Excel. So gender, one for male and two for female, like that I entered. Age also I divided four categories, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Marital status, I given only two options, married and unmarried. That's why I entered 1 and 2. Income, I given four criteria. And these are all the consumer behavior questions. Okay, I entered all the data collector. And also showing after entered all the data in the Excel, I have to do all my calculations, all my statistical analysis in SPSS. No, so here I'm just showing how to import my Excel sheet in SPSS. Wait, so yes, I'm having only old version SPSS 14.0 only. I'm just showing how to import my Excel sheet here. Type in data, I have to select here. So this is my SPSS screen. Here I have the data view as well as the variable view. Before that, I have to close my Excel sheet. Okay. After that, only I open SPSS. Here, going to file, open, data. Here, files of type. I select all files. It is in my download. That's why. What is download? Here, this one is online shopping consumer data is my Excel file. That's fine. Open. Okay. So all the data is automatically entered in. SPSS. So I import all the Excel, all my data is in Excel sheets into SPSS. It's all variable view is entered. So gender, age, marital status. I mean, these questions are A6.1 consumer, what is it? Online platform, as well as what are all the products they are choosing through online, like that questions. And after that, consumer behavior, customer satisfaction, and everything, it automatically came. So I want to do personal percentage analysis. Here I have to go in with fraction of second. I do all my calculations under descriptive statistics, frequencies, gender. Here I'm showing only the demographic variables. Here I need it, gender, age, marital status, income. These are my demographic questions. So convert and transfer into variables. Here I need chart, bar chart. Continue. Okay. Yes, of course. Gender. So my total data is, my sample size is 165. Out of 165, one that is male 108 and female is 57. Percentage also came. Age out of 165, my first category is 60. Frequency, that percentage. Marital status also came. Income, this is the gender. If we want to add the values, right click the screen, show data label, the values will come. It's not working, I think so. Yeah, values came, gender. So, out of total of 165, 108 is male candidate and 157 is female candidates. Age also I want to show the data labels. Right click, show data labels, close. So here also came. Okay. Marital status. So out of 165, 94 are married and 21 or if unmarried. Income also I came. So for all that, within fraction of second, I entered all the for output. I'm getting all the details of demographic variables, how much gender, age, income, marital status, and all that, and also it shows the diagrams. So these are all the basic things. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. If you want to any clarifications, you can ask.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Dear participants, if anyone has any doubt, you can just ask the resource person about it. You can unmute your mic.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Good evening.
Ma'am, this was very wonderful presentation you have just started with. I have one simple question to clarify. How will you do the chi-square test for a Likert scale question, ma'am?
Likert scale score. Yes, ma'am. Actually, a Likert scale. Yeah, we have to here we can compare gender as well as the 5-point Likert scale. Shall I show here?
Can you please, if possible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, no issues at all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay,
Because for
okay, no
Likert
issues.
scale, you will do a
Mm.
data cleaning, right? And you will give
Yes,
variable.
of course. Yes, of
So
course.
I have a little doubt. If you can explain it, really it will be helpful, ma'am. So
Yes, ma'am.
grateful
Yes,
to you.
ma'am. Right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no issues, no issues. Yes, the screen is visible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Done, done. Actually, wait, ma'am. I will take my questionnaire. Yes, 5-point Likert scale. Yes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the 5-point Likert scale. I mean B1, B2, website safety, payment safety, product safety, and transaction safety. These are all my 5-point Likert scale. So for easy convenient, I have to find out the average for these, ma'am. Website safety, under website safety, I have 5 variables. Payment safety, I have 7 variables, and product selection, 4 variables. Transaction, I have 3 variables. So I have to find out the average for each and everything. So for website safety, uh, yes, I'm showing here. So B1, I'm showing website safety alone, ma'am. So under website safety, I have the 5 variables. Here, first, I have to find out the average for that. So these are all my website safety questions. That's why after B15, I insert one here, view, so edit, insert variable. Here, this my WSS, website safety. That's why I enter WSS. Okay. Here I have to create the values. I copy, paste. So value entered. After that, I have to select the values here. I assign 1 for, again, I will take my questionnaire. Okay, agree, often, agree, always, often, sometimes, rare, never. So I assign 1 for always, add, and 2 for often, add, and 3 for, and 3 for sometimes, ST. Shortly, I type ST, and 4 for rare, and 5 for never. Okay, I entered all the values here. See what happened? Yes. Okay. Okay, here I copy, paste. Okay, coming to data view. So here I have to find out the average. I'm taking my Excel sheet. So B1, B1.2, B13, B1 point is my, here I insert one column, entire row, sorry, entire column. Here I have to find out the average for all this. So select all the sample size. Okay, here I have to find out the average. Average. Some error I think so. Wait a minute. Okay, average came up. I select this, I copy this column. And paste in SPSS. Okay. Actually analyze the descriptive statistics. I forgot where is chi-square is. Any idea about? Frequencies, mean, median, and mode.
Can you check in descriptives, ma'am?
Descriptive only I'm checking, ma'am. I forgot, I think. Analyze descriptive statistics. Descriptives, okay. No, ma'am, this is not correct.
Yeah.
Analyze descriptive statistics. Crosstab only. Crosstab. Okay, I'm gender rows. W, where is this one? Okay. This one I change. Here, statistics only, it will appear chi-square here. Yes, ma'am, here. Yes. I forgot to see the left-hand side. Okay. Continue. Okay, ma'am. So this is a chi-square welcome, ma'am. So we have to find out the average, ma'am. After that, we have to relate the any demographic variable with 5-point Likert scale. Here, my five-point Likert scale is payments. Website safety. That's why I found the average for website safety variables, and after that, I have to relate my gender as well as demographic. One of the demographic variable gender as well as my the website safety. So chi-square welcome. This one is the probability value 0.016. We have to null hypothesis as well as the alternate hypothesis. So my answer is 0.016. It is greater than, no ma'am, it is lesser than 0.05. That's fine.
Ma'am, is it 0.005 or 0.05?
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry. 0.005. No, ma'am, 0.05 only. Sorry. Yes, 5%, no?
Yeah.
0.05, not 0.005. So it is less than 0.05. That's why I am rejecting my null hypothesis. That's why there is no, that's why there is a relationship between my gender as well as website safety. That is my conclusion and interpretation, ma'am.
Ma'am, could you please explain if your value is less?
Actually, my getting value is 0.016. We have to see this first value, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes.
0.016. My probability value is 0.05.
Yeah,
It is less than or more than?
it is less than
It
0.05.
is less than. That's why I reject my null hypothesis.
Okay, if your
If
value
it
is less than 0.05, then you reject your null hypothesis,
yes, of
otherwise you
course. Yes,
accept.
of course. Yes, ma'am. If it
Okay.
is more than,
Okay.
we have to accept. Accept means there is no relationship between the gender as well as website safety. Here I am
Okay.
getting less than. That's why I am rejecting. It is a relationship between the gender as well as the website safety.
Okay. Ma'am, then in all cases, it need not be less than, right?
Yeah, in sometimes it might be greater than, ma'am.
Yeah,
In
okay.
sometimes we can get greater.
Yeah.
If you are getting greater, you are accepting your null hypothesis.
Fine. Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's so wonderful to hear you.
Thank you.
Really, you are
Thank
very patient in explaining things and really awesome, ma'am. Keep rocking,
Thank
keep
you.
going. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank-
much for your patient and
Okay.
explanation. It's so good. Thank you so much.
I'm one request from Shekhar sir. You arrange a SPSS workshop, sir. Because more theoretical part, we need some practical work only.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, if Shekhar sir can do the honor, really wonderful, ma'am, because there are a lot of people, we know the theory part, but then
Yes, of
how
course.
we have supposed to do it in SPSS, that becomes a challenging. So
Yes.
if that is possible, if he can arrange something on workshop with SPSS, and I think that would be really great.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Provilandan from Star International. Already we have conducted a program on SPSS. It is also available on our YouTube page. You can kindly utilize
Okay,
that.
fine, sir. Oh, fine, sir. Fine, fine, fine.
Yeah. And there is
Shobha ma'am,
one
kindly
question.
refer. They already found this.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Shekhar, sir, you're really doing a wonderful thing. I get to know your Star International through one of my friend. Really, it's a great job you're doing towards research, sir. Keep going, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I will just convey your messages and congratulations to Segar sir. And
Please, sir.
actually, there is some question in YouTube comment box. His name is
Yes,
Samit Panikar. He is asking that
sir.
can we quote magazines for scientific writing?
Pardon, sir. Again, repeat your question, sir.
He is asking that can we quote magazine for scientific writing?
Magazine for scientific writing, sir.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, sir. We have many magazines for science writing because my major is commerce. I don't know about science area, but we have, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
I don't know the specific name, but we have n number of papers in science related to science.
I think so. There is no other doubts. Can we wind the session, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.